Hello everyone! Welcome to another nursing pharmacology lecture. Ang pag-uusapan natin will be the anti-inflammatory agents. Our learning objectives in this discussion first describe the sites of action of the various anti-inflammatory drugs. Aalamin din natin ang mga therapeutic actions, indications, pharmacokinetics, contraindications, most common adverse reaction, and yung mga drug-drug interactions ng mga gamot associated with anti-inflammatory agents. I-discuss din natin kung paano ginagamit ang anti-inflammatory drugs across lifespan. We will also compare and contrast the prototype medications, and we will outline all important nursing considerations and health teaching in our patients receiving each class of anti-inflammatory drugs. Bago natin talakayin ang mga iba't ibang klase ng anti-inflammatory medications, kailangan muna nating maintindihan kung ano ba ang inflammatory process. Kapag sinabing inflammatory process or yung tinatawag nating inflammation, ito ay isa sa mga natural na mechanism ng ating katawan, lalo na kapag ang isang individual ay nakakaranas ng either injury, infection, or any form of a tissue damage. Ito ay sanhi ng paglabas ng mga tinatawag nating chemical mediators katulad ng prostaglandin, histamine, at bradykinin. Ang layunin ng inflammation ay dalawang bagay. Una, sirain ang pathogens at pangalawa, simulan ang paghilom ng tissue. Pero syempre, kasama nito ang mga sintomas katulad ng pamumula, init or there is heat, pamamaga, or yung isa, yung sakit or yung pain, na minsan ay nagiging sobra at dito pumapasok kung kailan tayo gumagamit or umiinom ng tinatawag nating anti-inflammatory drugs. So uulitin ko, pagdating sa inflammatory process, meron tayong tinatawag na mga cardinal signs of inflammation. Syempre, nandyan ang pain, nandyan ang heat or yung pagkakaroon ng mainit na pakiramdam within the affected areas or may mainit na sensation sa affected areas, pamumula, changes or discoloration sa affected areas or injury, swelling or pamamaga, and minsan nagkakaroon din ng tinatawag natin na loss of function. Ang pain ay isa sa mga tinatawag nating cardinal signs na pag sinabing nating pain, it refers to a physical discomfort or suffering caused by injury or illness. It is an unpleasant sensory which is associated with a tissue damage. May iba't ibang pangunahing uri ng pain. May tinatawag tayong nociceptive, neuropathic, and idiopathic. Nociceptive pain, these are chemical, mechanical, and thermal pain. Ibig sabihin, ang nociceptive pain, ang dahilan nito ay dahil sa tissue injury. Pagdating naman sa neuropathic, ang neuropathic pain naman, these are the burning, stabbing pain. Most of the time, it's caused by a CNS damage. So, pagdating sa neuropathic, ang nerve ang damage. When you say idiopathic pain, these are the unknown origin. Pero mas madalas, these are associated with anxiety or stress. Ibig sabihin sa idiopathic, hindi matukoy ang pinagmumulan ng uri ng sakit. Bukod dito sa iba't ibang klaseng pangunahing uri ng pain, meron ding categories of pain. Dito pumapasok yung konsepto pagdating sa acute pain and chronic pain. Ang acute pain, ito yung mabilis at intense. Ito, class, ipinapakita ng mga signs and symptoms kagaya ng pagtaas ng heart rate, pagbilis ng paghinga or respiration, tumataas din ang blood pressure, nagkakaroon ng diaphoresis, nausea, dilation ng pupils at pagtaas din ng glucose levels. Pagdating naman sa chronic pain, ito naman yung matagal at paulit-ulit na klase ng sakit. Dito sa chronic pain, kabaliktaran ang mga signs and symptoms na nararanasan ng isang pasyente or ng isang individual. Dito sa chronic pain, may pagbagal or pagbaba ng heart rate, respiration, at ng blood pressure. Mas matagal ang duration ng dull persistent pain. And kadalasan dahil sa sobrang sakit, nagkakaroon din ng association ng depression. Ang sakit ay dulot ng stimulation sa mga nerve endings at paglabas ng tinatawag nating biochemical prostaglandins. Kaya mahalaga ang mga gamot na nagbabawas sa tinatawag nating prostaglandin synthesis para mabawasan ang pain or ang sakit or ang kirot na nararanasan ng ating mga pasyente or ng iba't ibang individual. Now, when it comes to pain assessment, usually, we consider the following areas para ma-determine natin anong klaseng pain, anong category ng pain ang nararanasan ng ating mga pasyente. We check the onset of pain, the duration of pain, quality of pain, location of pain, depth, and the severity of pain. Now, pagdating sa management or pag-control ng kirot or ng kahit ano pang uri ng sakit, isa sa kinoconsider natin is yung pagbibigay or pag-administer ng tinatawag nating anti-inflammatory drugs. Nabanggit nga natin na isa sa mga cardinal signs ng inflammatory process natin ang pain or ang sakit or ang kirot na nararamdaman ng isang tao or ng isang individual. Tatlo ang iba't ibang klase ng gamot under the big umbrella of anti-inflammatory drugs. Meron tayong tinatawag na salicylates, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, at pwede din makamanage ng mga cardinal signs yung tinatawag nating grupo ng gamot acetaminophen. Simulan natin yung discussion by determining the first anti-inflammatory drug classification, salicylate. Now, ang mga salicylate ay ginagamit as an antipyretic and as an analgesic. Pag sinabi nating antipyretic, these are medications that will help inhibit the fever. Para mapigilan ang pagtaas ng lagnat, ang antipyretic drugs act in what we call thermoregulatory center sa ating hypothalamic area. Pagdating naman sa analgesic effect ng salicylate, ito binablock niya yung synthesis ng prostaglandin. Ibig sabihin, siya yung nagiging binablock niya yung mediator ng inflammatory reaction para hindi na makaranas or makaramdam ng kahit ano pang uri ng pain. Ang salicylates ay widely used medications na kung saan ginagamit as a treatment of an inflammatory condition. Ito ay available over the counter, so individuals or people can purchase it without any prescription and non-toxic when used as directed. Pakatatandaan, ang salicylate ay ipine-prescribe ng doktor kasi ito ay ginagamit for mild to moderate pain or suggested to manage fever. Now, drugs under salicylate classification, of course, we have aspirin. Aspirin is our prototype drug, and aspirin contains not only antipyretic and analgesic properties, but also it inhibits the synthesis of thromboxane, kaya ito, ginagamit din siya as your platelet aggregation. Other physicians or doctors consider low dose of aspirin to prevent heart attack or part of the prevention ng cardiovascular problems natin. Specifically, yung mga nagkakaroon or risk for clotting. Ang iba pang klase ng salicylate natin, meron tayong palsalazide, choline magnesium, diflunisal, oxalazine, and salsalate. Now, salicylate's pharmacokinetics, these medications are absorbed in the stomach and their peak levels is 5 to 30 minutes. They are metabolized in the liver and excreted in the urine. Now, contraindicated ang salicylate kapag may hypersensitivity, kapag uminom na or nagbigay na ng iba pang klase ng anti-inflammatory drug kagaya ng NSAIDs, tartrazine, because there is a cross-sensitivity to aspirin, bleeding abnormalities, impaired renal function. Adverse effects naman ng ng salicylate natin, specifically aspirin, there could be what we call gastrointestinal disturbance. So signs and symptoms expected will be nausea, dyspepsia, heartburn, and epigastric discomfort. Clotting problems kagaya ng blood loss, bleeding abnormalities, salicylism. This is because of high levels of aspirin in the blood. Acute salicylate toxicity. Now, the acute salicylate toxicity, itong nararanasan or maaaring mangyari kapag ang isang pasyente, kung siya ay adult, nag-take ng salicylate about 20 to 25 grams, 4 grams naman pagdating sa pediatric. So, what are the signs and symptoms that will determine a patient is experiencing acute salicylate toxicity? It will be hyperpnea, tachypnea, hemorrhage, excitement, confusion, pulmonary edema, convulsion, tetany, metabolic acidosis, fever, coma, and other problems concerning cardiovascular, renal, and respiratory collapse. Pagdating naman sa nursing considerations, isa sa kinoconsider natin is yung pagbibigay ng gamot with food. This will help reduce the gastric irritation and ulcer risk. Monitor bleeding because aspirin inhibits the platelet, so there is an increased bleeding tendency. Kaya napaka-importante that we check any laceration, any injury, kung gaano kabilis or katagal nagbi-bleed ang isang pasyente. Assess tinnitus. Pag sinabi nating tinnitus, ito yung isa sa mga sintomas na nararanasan ng isang individual na merong ringing in the ear, na kung saan tinnitus kasi is part of the early sign of toxicity. Specifically, it's salicylism. Avoid giving with anticoagulants because it could have an additive anticoagulant effect, which is mas magiging risk for increased bleeding or worse is hemorrhage ang ating pasyente. Now, let's talk about the second classification of anti-inflammatory drugs, and that will be your NSAIDs or the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Ito namang grupo ng gamot na to, they inhibit the synthesis of prostaglandin. Now, these medications act directly within the tissues or within the trauma. Now, there are two enzymes involved pagdating sa NSAIDs. Yung tinatawag natin COX-1 at COX-2. COX stands for cyclooxygenase, and for the cyclooxygenase 1, this is present in all tissues involved in many body functions natin, kagaya ng blood clotting, protecting the stomach lining, maintaining the sodium and water balance in the kidneys. Now, ang ginagawa ng COX-1 is it converts the arachidonic acid to prostaglandin. COX-2 naman is the enzyme present in a site of trauma or injury. Diba sabi nga natin, in an injury or in a trauma na kung saan inflammatory process will happen, si cyclooxygenase 2, siya yung isa sa mga biochemical na nag-a-act on that area. Kaya itong dalawang to yung ini-inhibit or binablock natin. But between the two, mas malaki yung nagiging impact kay COX-1 kasi nga it's involved across body functions. Now, NSAIDs are indicated for cases kagaya ng mild to moderate pain, all forms of your arthritis, rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, primary dysmenorrhea, and even decreasing the elevated body temperature. Now, drug samples under the NSAIDs category. So, una, meron tayong tinatawag na COX-1 inhibitor. Again, if this medication ang ibinibigay natin, isa sa binabantayan natin is yung pag-block na rin sa gastrointestinal lining protection natin. Isa sa sikat na COX-1 inhibitor is yung tinatawag nating ibuprofen. But we also have naproxen, ketoprofen. Now, these medications are used for management of pain, Cases kagaya ng dysmenorrhea, arthritis, and mga short-term or long-term pain management, kagaya ng ketoprofen. Pagdating naman sa mga acetic acid, itong acetic acid, isa sa ginagamit natin is your indomethacin, na kung saan it's a relief of a moderate to severe pain. Specifically, binibigay to oral preparation. But other cases, kagaya ng PTA or yung patent ductus arteriosus, one of the congenital heart problem ng isang bata, binibigyan din natin ng indomethacin because it helps with the closure ng patent ductus arteriosus. But we also have diclofenac and etodolac na binibigay for acute and chronic pain. Other acetic acid din natin will be ketorolac and nabumeton, solendac, and tolmentin. Next classification under NSAID will be the phenamates. Sa phenamates, ang sikat na binibigay natin dito is the mefenamic acid, na kung saan it could be a treatment, short-term treatment of pain in adults, and pagdating naman sa mga pediatric patients, they can receive mefenamic acid as long as they fall with the age bracket 14 years old pataas, especially among females, kasi ginagamit din ang mefenamic acid to control dysmenorrhea. Meclofenamate naman is a treatment for mild to moderate pain, even all forms of your arthritis, rheumatoid, and osteoarthritis. Oxycam, ito naman, meloxicam and piroxicam, ang mga gamot na binibigay natin, also used as part of the management of arthritis. And then for COX-2 inhibitor, again, for COX-2 inhibitor, ang ikinaiba kay COX-1, COX-1 present all tissues. COX-2 present pagdating sa trauma and injury. Kaya isang gamot ang ibinibigay natin, and that is your celecoxib. So, ini-inhibit si COX-2 enzyme, kaya it's also treatment for severe or chronic forms of pain natin, such as yung acute and chronic arthritis, and among adult, dysmenorrhea, and reduction of colorectal polyp. Your NSAIDs pharmacokinetics, these are absorbed in the gastrointestinal tract. Peak levels are peak levels is 1 to 3 hours. These are metabolized in the liver, excreted in the urine, and when it comes to NSAIDs, these are not recommended for pregnant and lactating women because it has the capability to cross the placenta and the breast milk. So, hindi siya pwedeng ibigay kapag buntis ang pasyente at kapag nagpapasuso ang ating pasyente. Now, NSAIDs are contraindicated, of course, if there is a hypersensitivity. If the patient is taking an antibiotic, specifically sulfonamide, kagaya ng cotrimoxazole, salicylate, celecoxib, cardiovascular dysfunction, hypertension, and gastrointestinal bleeding. Adverse effects that could be observed if mapadami ang take ng NSAIDs could be nausea, dyspepsia, gastrointestinal pain, constipation, diarrhea, gastrointestinal bleeding, headache, dizziness, somnolence, fatigue, bleeding, platelet inhibition, rash, and mouth sore. Now, when it comes to nursing and considerations sa pagbibigay ng NSAIDs, first we have to give this medication with meals. Napaka-importante nito because as we said earlier, part of the function ng COX-1 is it acts as a protective lining in the gastrointestinal area. Na kung saan, if we will block COX-1, mawawalan ng protector yung lining ng gastrointestinal tract. That's why food will be given to patients as well because food protects the gastric lining. Avoid combining NSAIDs. So do not mix your phenamates, your acetic acids, or your COX-1 or COX-2. Kaya nga, di ba, kanina contraindicated sa lagoxib. It's because we cannot give COX-2 with COX-1 with phenamates or with acetic acids kasi mas lalong mag-aggravate yung risk ng gastrointestinal bleeding, renal problems, and even cardiovascular toxicity. Monitor creatinine to determine kidney function because there might be a chance or a risk of kidney injury. Kaya dapat monitor natin because monitor natin ang CREA because NSAIDs reduces renal perfusion. And lastly, assess gastrointestinal bleeding because your COX-1 inhibition because the inhibition of COX-1 may result to ulcers and bleeding may occur. Last group of our anti-inflammatory drugs will be the acetaminophen. Most commonly prescribed acetaminophen is Tylenol. These are used as a treatment for moderate to mild pain as well as fever. So, ang acetaminophen din natin used as antipyretic and analgesic. These are over-the-counter medications and these are most frequently used for our pediatric patients. Now, acetaminophen may combine with other medications, unlike with your NSAIDs and your salicylate, but we have to be very careful with severe liver toxicity, and that could be one of the identified complications. Now, the acetaminophen acts directly on the thermoregulatory cells ng hypothalamus, kaya napapababa yung tumataas na body temperature. So, ang nangyayari kapag umiinom ng acetaminophen, there is a vasodilation effect and sweating. Kaya, bumababa yung body temperature. It causes release of heat and lowers the fever. Now, acetaminophen is indicated for treatment of pain and fever. It could also be given for influenza cases, prophylaxis for immunization. Di ba kaya nga nag-a-advise tayo na mag-take ng paracetamol kapag nagpapavaccine tayo. Relief of the musculoskeletal pain. Now, acetaminophen pharmacokinetics to remember, they are rapidly absorbed gastrointestinal tract. Most of our acetaminophen are oral preparation. Peak levels are between 0.5 to 2 hours. So, half an hour to 2 hours ay effect ng gamot natin. Peak levels na yan. Metabolized in the liver and excreted in the urine. Now, contraindication, hypersensitivity, pregnancy and lactation. But we have to take this cautiously naman. Well, pregnant women can take acetaminophen, but just be reminded of the doses and the duration ng pag-take nila or gano'n na ba kadami ang natatake nilang gamot. Adverse effects could be hemolytic anemia, it could be a skin rash, a headache, fever, and a renal dysfunction. And lastly, napaka-importante na alam natin ang nursing consideration kapag nagbibigay tayo ng acetaminophen. So, isa nga dyan is yung imo-monitor natin ang liver enzymes ng pasyente, specifically the ALT and the AST, because this will help detect early signs of hepatotoxicity. Kasi nga, ang acetaminophen ay name-metabolize sa liver. Avoid giving acetaminophen with alcohol. This will increase the toxic metabolite. So there could be a severe liver injury. Educate patient about acetaminophen as over-the-counter to prevent accidental overdose from combining or combination of other. At dito po nagtatapos ang ating discussion pagdating sa grupo ng gamot, anti-inflammatory drugs. All concepts presented are derived from our reference book, Focus on Nursing Pharmacology, 9th edition by Rebecca Tucker. Should you have any questions or concerns, you may send it in my email address, acdemesa@fatima.edu.ph. Maraming salamat po.